made the Gargantuan crater on the dark side of the moon. This is one of the solar system's largest craters, and nobody knows how it was made. This is on space.com by Life Science, Brian Spector. Science has just debunked the most popular explanation for one of the solar system's largest craters. The South Pole Aitken Basin represents the shades of blue at the center. It stretches 1,550 miles or 2,500 kilometers across. It's one of the solar system's largest craters. The dashed circle indicates a spot where researchers found a weird material beneath the basin, and it contains metal. Billions of years ago, something slammed into the dark side of the moon, and it carved out a very, very large hole, stretching 1,550 miles or 2,500 kilometers wide and 8 miles deep, 13 kilometers deep. 1,500 miles wide, 8 kilometers deep. The South Pole Aitken the basin, as the tremendous hole is known to Earthlings, is the South Pole Aitken Basin. It's the oldest and deepest crater on the moon, and one of the largest craters in the entire solar system. For decades, researchers have suspected that the Gargantuan Basin was created by a head-on collision with a very large, very fast meteor. Such an impact would have ripped the moon's crust apart and scattered chunks of the lunar mantle across the crater's surface, providing a rare glimpse at what the moon is really made of. And spoiler, it's not cheese. That theory gained some credence earlier this year when China's Yutu-2 rover, which settled into the bottom of the crater aboard the Chance 4 lander in January, discovered traces of minerals that seem to originate from the moon's mantle. However, the study published in August 19 in the journal Geophysics Research Letters throws the results and the crater's origin story into question. After analyzing the minerals in 6 plots of soil at the bottom of the South Pole Aitken Basin, a team of researchers argues that the crater's composition is all crust. It's all crust and no mantle, suggesting that whatever impact opened the crater billions of years ago did not hit hard enough to spray the moon's innards into the surface. It's all crust and no mantle. So it didn't go deep enough, even though that was so huge and the biggest crater in our solar system. Why is that? There's a lot of people that believe that the moon is perhaps some kind of a craft, that it's placed there as an observation post. Others say that it's supposed to be something expelled from Earth when something impacted Earth billions of years ago, and that the moon is ejected material from Earth. Well, if it's ejected material from Earth, then this huge impact on the moon, that is the biggest crater, that caused the biggest crater in the solar system, should not have acted that way if it was part of our Earth. Now, they say here we are not seeing the mantle materials at the landing site as expected, meaning the landing site, meaning the impact site. This is what study co-author Hao Zhang, planetary scientist at the China University of Geosciences, said in a statement. These findings all but rule out a direct collision with a heavy velocity meteor and raise a question. What, if not a head-on meteor strike, created the largest crater on the moon? So they're saying it was the largest crater on the moon and one of the biggest in the solar system. So it must have been a head-on collision by a meteor strike. Otherwise, what could it be? That's the question. Lighting up the dark side, in their new study, the researchers used a technique called reflection spectroscopy to identify specific minerals in the lunar soil based on how individual grains reflected visible and near-infrared light. Using equipment aboard the Yutu-2 rover, the team conducted reflectance tests on 6 patches of soil in the first 2 days following Chang'e's 4's landing, venturing about 175 feet or 54 meters away from the lander. With the help of a database, they identified lunar materials based on a variety of factors, including size, reflectance, and degradation due to solar wind. The team estimated the mineral concentration in each of the plots. A crystalline rock called plagioclase was by far the most abundant mineral in each sample, accounting for 56% to 72% of the crater's composition, the researchers said. Formed as primordial oceans of lava, cool plagioclase is extremely common in the crust of the Earth and the Moon alike, but is less abundant in their mantles. Though the team detected other minerals in the crust that are more common in the Moon's mantle, such as olivine, these rocks made up too small a fraction of the soil samples to suggest that part of the mantle had broken through the crust. This mineral makeup complicates the theory that a giant, high-velocity meteor created the South Pole Aitken Basin billions of years ago, as such an impact almost certainly would have scattered chunks of mantle over the lunar surface. So what then created this crater? The researchers did not speculate in the new study, but prior research has suggested that a renegade space rock is still the culprit, but the hit may not have been so direct. A study published in 2012 in the journal Science argued that a slightly slower moving meteor could have struck the back of the Moon at an angle of about 30 degrees and resulted in an approximately large crater that never disturbed the Moon's mantle. But those researchers had only simulations to go on. If nothing else, the new research suggests that there is a lot more exploring to do in the South Pole, the Aitken Basin of the Moon, before an answer becomes apparent. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.